Good afternoon there, YouTube. This is Stampede Valkyrie. I'm actually working on another project now. I just figured I'd talk about it real quick. We're looking at an actual mini jet bar. I like the way I use the term actual there. I don't think it's bootleg or anything, but it's a mini jet bar. The whole reason why I picked this bar up is because, as you'll see, the dome itself is a red dome. More often than not, these bars usually have clear domes with inserts, and that's the most common thing you'll see. Actually, finding a dome of any sort of color is actually considered pretty rare anymore. In this instance, first time I'm powering it up, I'm noticing something which is kind of interesting. However, since I've already opened this bar up, I can't really call this an unwrapping video, but since I've only had it open for a couple minutes, it's very close to an unwrapping video. So here we go. This wants to compare a little bit of cooperation here. It's actually not too bad. Considering the internals of a bar that was unknown, that kind of just fell in my lap. There's not really a lot of corrosion. There's a little bit. Many thanks to Lillian there, 2242 at Federal, for actually making this bar for me. Looks to be a build date on this bar, again, of 94. That's September of 94, so this one actually puts it about a little bit newer than that NYPD Mini Arrow that I was working on before, but you'll see the actual model there. It's a JM, Series A, 12 volts. You'll see it just has two diamond V mirrors and then the rotator and then a rotator. So pretty basic bar. The draw again for me to get this bar was the colored dome. I'm not 100% certain what I'm going to do with this bar, but in this instance here, this bar is probably worth saving. If you also look and see, this is something I actually pointed out in the other custom mini jet that I did. Notice that these rotators are dead set in the middle of the bar. And that custom bar that I made with the TCL in the middle and the two new old stock rotators, the rotators are actually back here, and then the mounting plate you could see over here. That was facing back or back here or up here, depending on however you've positioned that plate. These guys are dead set in the middle, so these are the actual right style rotators, even though there's really no difference between these rotators and the ones in that custom bar other than the fact of how they're mounted. The other style rotator was found very frequently in the full-size Jetstream bars. The mini Jetstream bars were usually found like this, and these rotators, believe it or not, are actually not so common to find. It took me a little bit to actually even find a lead on one in the event that I needed to replace it. I don't think I'm going to need to replace these guys though. Looking at the condition, not heavy corrosion. If you give me a second here, I'll power it up and you can actually see firsthand what this is doing and what I'm going to have to do to fix it. So give me a second here. There we go. They're up and running. As you can see, they do spin. They're a little noisy, probably due to the fact that there's little or no, I'm going to say lubrication, no grease on there. I might spray a little bit of my motor solvent in there to see if I can clean up the motors at all, see maybe if the motors are making noise. But I don't think that's the case. I think a lot of the noise here is coming from the fact that there is no grease on those rotators. And if I grease those worm gears, this will quiet up pretty nicely. Other than that, that's it in a nutshell. I just figured I want to show you guys what I'm looking at next. Again, I'm not 100% certain what I'm going to do with this guy. These Jetstream bars, or the mini jets, are actually becoming quite uncommon to find anymore. And I may just hold on to it just for that. However, like I said, my main point of contention for buying this bar was this guy right here. The actual red Jet Series dome. It's not in too bad shape. It's a used dome. I'll have to actually polish it. I may actually go to town on it and see what's going on. It's worth noting that the end cap on this bar is a standard Jet Series end cap. It's clear. It has a red filter in it. I'm fairly certain that I don't believe they made end caps that were solid colors. I could be wrong. Somebody who's an expert on that probably can come into play and tell me, one way or the other. The bands, I'll reuse them. Typically with these bars, when you actually find them, there is a pretty decent amount of dry rot on the rubber. It's the same thing on these guys as well. It's no big deal. Clean them up. As you can see a lot of the rubber actually came off, or whatever was left on the edge of that bar, and you can still see a little bit of it here on the rim itself. If I could find another colored dome, I would say replace the dome, but the odds of me finding, as I bump that, the odds of me finding another red colored dome instead of just replacing one of my clears is pretty low. Anyway, that's that. I figured I'd make a quick video about it. This is what I'm working on next, or at least I plan on working on next. So I'll try to quiet up these rotators, and we'll go from there. Have a good weekend, YouTube.